ਸੰਸਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਰੋਧੀ ਧਿਰ ਦੇ ਆਗੂ ਏਰਿਨ ਓਟੂਲ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਘੇਰਿਆ ਗਿਆ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਵਾਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਪੈਂਡੈਮਿਕ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦੱਸੇ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਸਾਰਥਕ ਕਦਮ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਗਏ ਨੇ। ਇਸ ਦੇ ਜਵਾਬ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਵਾਬ ਦਿੱਤਾ।
Mr. Speaker, the wage subsidy was supposed to help workers stay employed. It was supposed to help small businesses keep their doors open. Instead, we've learned that it went to padding the bottom lines of 68 of Canada's largest corporations. How much money did this government spend subsidizing corporations that didn't lose a penny during COVID-19?
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I will get to the question in a moment, but allow me to begin by thanking the doctors, the researchers, the scientists at Health Canada and elsewhere who worked tirelessly over the past many weeks and months to approve the first COVID-19 vaccine, safe and effective for use for Canadians today. This is a big deal, Mr. Speaker. It is a good news day for Canadians. We will see 30,000 vaccines begin to arrive next week, with many more on the horizon. But we are not through this yet. We've got a tough winter to get through, and I know we're going to be able to get through it together.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the vaccine is great news. I agree with the Prime Minister, and I appreciate him voting for our motion to have a plan so that Canadians can see that. I want to add to his thanks the Canadian Armed Forces, who helped our long-term care. We learned recently that Extendicare received $82 million from the wage subsidy at a time the Canadian Armed Forces took over their facility in Toronto, meaning Canadians were actually paying shareholders while the Canadian Armed Forces were cleaning up the corporate mess. Why did the Prime Minister pay millions for a job that the Canadian Armed Forces ended up doing?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, from the very beginning of this pandemic, we made a promise to Canadians that we would have their backs, and that's exactly what we did. We delivered on a CERB that helped Canadians with replacements for their paychecks. We delivered on a wage subsidy that supported businesses, small and larger, to be able to get through these difficult times, and Canadians pulled together. We've continued to be there with PPE, and now with vaccines, with rapid testing, and with other things that have worked directly with the province. We will continue to support Canadians as necessary so we can get through this pandemic.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Clearly put conditions on companies when it comes to dividends and share repurchasing in exchange for loans. Spain and the Netherlands built restrictions into their wage subsidy program. Once again, the government couldn't be bothered to do basic due diligence. Will the Prime Minister commit to reforming the Canadian emergency wage subsidy that it only benefits those in the break room as opposed to the corporate executives in the boardroom?